Hello and welcome back to our Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky 1 playthrough. In our last episode we arrived in the city of Rouen. We were accosted by some dockside thugs. We got thrown out of our hotel room by the Queen's nephew? I think it was nephew. Wasn't her cousin. Nephew. We'll say nephew. Nephew sounds right. We were thrown out of our hotel room by the Queen's nephew who wanted our room, and ran into Niall. And then there was a fire at the Mercia Orphanage, which we don't yet know about. And yes, our next job is to head to the Bracers Guild, now that all of that is done, and report for work, basically. So, let's report to Jean Valjean here. Estelle says, "Good morning, Jean." Joshua adds, "Good morning." Jean says, "Good morning. You're certainly here early." Estelle nods, "Yep, just like we promised." Joshua asks, "I know it's early, but do you have any assignments for us?" Jean grins. "Ah, music to my ears. Let's see, there are so many options." Estelle says, "Go easy on us." Jean says, "Oh, hold on just a moment, please," and answers the phone. Jean says, "Hello, you've reached the Bracers Guild." "Oh, it's an incoming communication from the White Magnolia. How unusual. I'm impressed you were able to reach us with that old comm equipment." "What did you say?" "I see. That's definitely a major issue." "Yes, I understand. I'll send someone over shortly." Estelle asks, "What's wrong? Another case?" Jean says, "It could be a case or just an accident. I'm not sure. Last night the orphanage on the coastal road caught fire and burnt down." Estelle says, "No way." Joshua asks, "Any idea who might have done it?" Jean replies, "That was the proprietor of the Minoria Inn who called. Are you too familiar with the Mercia Orphanage?" Estelle asks, "Familiar? We were there just yesterday afternoon." Joshua asks, "Are the kids and the matron okay?" Jean replies, "That I don't know. We have to conduct a full investigation, and it has to be as thorough as possible. Would you be willing?" Estelle nods, "Of course we would." Joshua says, "Let's head over there now then." Jean says, Good. Take care." Oh, okay. Right, we have 3 new Bracers Guild missions. The warehouse key from Haag, it pays 1000 mira. It's medium difficulty. "I lost my warehouse key somewhere and I really need it. Please find it ASAP. For details, come see me at the harbour." It is a medium term one. Find the prototype. The client is Carl. It pays another 1000 mira. It is medium difficulty. "I lost my orbital gun prototype along the Orient Causeway. I think I dropped it when I was attacked by a monster along the way. If you happen to find it, please bring it to me at Joan Arms and Guards." And the Orient Road monster is for the Bracers Guild. Pays 1500 mira. It's medium difficulty. A ferocious monster known as a helmet crab has been spotted roving near the Sapphire Tower. Bracers from this branch are requested to deal with this threat immediately. We have reported results for the Gull Seaway monster. We got 1500 mira and 4 BP for the privilege. and results of the Crone Pass attack. We received 2,000 Mira and 2 BP for that, and our rank is still Junior Bracer 6th class. Jean says, much obliged. You appear to have achieved your goal without injury. If you complete any other jobs, be sure to give me all the juicy details. Got some kibbled salt and 2 fish fillets. All that. That will come in handy.
Let's move out.
One prickly seed. Oh, okay. So it seems that that's the way around. The big one is a Night Nautilus. It has 839 HP. Not weak to any particular element. Can drop an evade 2. A large monster living near the sea that emits a blinding shock. Explodes when defeated. I see. Right.
Let's do this!
Here I come!
Oh, yep, he's gone.
All right, we rule!
2 fish fillets and 3 fish eggs. Monsters. Who would have known there would have been monsters in that chest? Ow.
That's that then. Let's move out.
Two prickly seeds for our trouble, and a battle suit. The voices in my lid said you'd return. Battle suit increases defense by 50 and art defense by 6. Armor padded in various places to absorb shock. That was... oh dear. Lovely. Alright, let's see what the orphanage looks like now, shall we? Oh. Estelle says, this is terrible. Joshua says, it's just gone. Zach asks, well, who do we have here? Solomon asks, are you here from the Bracers Guild? Estelle nods, yeah. Joshua asks, you're all from Menoria, right? Zach says, yeah. Came to help pick up the pieces. We were here last night around midnight trying to fight the fire. As you can see, it could have gone better. Estelle demands, so then, what about Matron Teresa and the kids? Solomon says, they're all fine, don't worry. Right now, they're sleeping in Menoria's inn. Given the size of the fire, it's a miracle that no one was badly hurt. Estelle says, thank goodness. Joshua says, yes, at least that's something. Zach says, we're here now to clean up what we can. How about you two? Estelle says, we really ought to check up on everyone at the inn. Joshua intercedes, sorry, but that'll have to wait. Estelle asks, huh? Joshua says, now that we're here at the scene of the crime, there's a lot that strikes me as weird. We need to find what clues we can before the trail goes cold, so to speak. I know how you feel, but this has to take precedence right now. Estelle nods. Right. We're Bracers after all. We have to find out what happened. Joshua nods. Right, so let's see what we can find. Solomon says, looks like you'll have your hands full. Zach says, good luck. The stump seats around the table have been scattered about. Okay. The firewood for the stove has been scattered around. Same firewood, apparently. The barrels with food in them have been scorched black. A milk tank has fallen on its side and is empty. The door has been completely wrecked. Estelle sighs. It's all pitch black. Joshua asks, what's wrong? Estelle says, maybe this is just me, but does the hinge there look weird to you? Like it's been torn off or something? Joshua nods. It does, actually. as if it happened before the fire started. What was once a wall is now rubble. Estelle says, "Wow, this place is ruined. Hey, do you smell something strange?" Joshua nods. "Yes, and I think I know why." The strange smell is strongest where the walls have collapsed. Solomon says, "Man, I was in shock yesterday. I mean, seeing the sky go all red in the east over Mercia. I tried to get here as quickly as I could, but everything was already gone." Zach says, "Since the fires burned so much, I guess the only thing to do is to rebuild. I don't know what Matron Teresa is going to do. I mean, it's going to be really expensive." Herbs have been uprooted and strewn about the garden. I mean, why do that? That makes no sense. The soil from the flower bed is all over the ground. Okay, so I've clearly not found all the clues there are to find. Joshua says, "All right, we've taken a good look around. What do you think?" Estelle says, "I'm not sure, to be honest." Joshua says, "First off, the fire doesn't appear to have started in the building. It most likely started outside." Estelle gasps, "Outside?" Joshua nods, "Over here." It looks like this area is the point of origin. Estelle says, the wall collapsed. But how can you tell? Joshua says, because the fire damage is worse here than anywhere else. Compare it to the areas nearby and you'll see. Estelle says, "Oh, you're right." Joshua says, "So it started here and then spread. You know what this means?" Estelle says, well... someone set the fire on purpose?" Joshua says, "My thoughts exactly. That smell everywhere, that's some highly flammable oil. It's everywhere around here, so this had to be the fire's point of origin." Estelle says, "No way." Joshua says, "Plus, don't you think it's weird how everything outside is scattered around? Even the people fighting the fire wouldn't have done that to the herb garden. It's not a coincidence. Someone did this." A girl's voice says, "Is that true?" Estelle says, "Kloe?" Joshua says, "I didn't know you were here." Kloe asks, "But why? Why would anyone do this? I have so many irreplaceable memories of this place. Why? How? would someone do anything so cruel? Estelle says, Kloe. Joshua ponders to himself. Kloe ponders to herself. I'm sorry, I'm just so confused. Estelle says, you're not alone in that feeling. I barely know the place, and this bothers the heck out of me too. It's hard to believe that anyone could be capable of something this awful. Kloe says, Estelle says, but the matron and the kids are all okay. So we can be thankful for that, right? Kloe says, thank you. That does help. I just started morning classes when the dean came to see me. He said that he'd heard the orphanage was in flames. And while I was on my way here, all I could think about was, they're fine, they're alive. Aidos is watching over them. Joshua says, well, we heard that they're all safe at the inn in Mercia, safe and sound. We just finished up here, so we're planning to go see them. Do you want to come with us? Kloe nods. Yes, I would like that very much. Estelle says, all right then, to Mercia we go. To Mercia we go then. Alvin says, I heard the kids crying upstairs. What in the world happened? Shelby says, something unusual is going on. Carla says, oh, that's the Royal Academy uniform. Is your name Kloe by any chance? Kloe says, yes, why do you ask? Carla says, the children from the orphanage talk about you a great deal. They're all upstairs in the big room. You should go and see them whenever you get the chance. Kloe says, oh, I will. Pardon me. Kloe calls matron, everyone. Clem cries, Miss Kloe. Mary says, you came. Kloe asks, is anyone hurt? Daniel says, we're okay. Polly laughs, I is okay. Kloe says, thank goodness. Matron Teresa laughs, I'm glad you're here. Is that Estelle and Joshua I see with you? Estelle says, yes, since someone contacted the guild. Joshua said, we're investigating the incident and thought we'd stop by. Matron Teresa says, I see. Thank you for taking the time. Clem asks, investigating? You mean about the fire, right? Do you know who did it? Estelle says, Joshua adds, well, how to put it? Estelle and Joshua exchanged awkward glances. Kloe asks, so, who's hungry? I missed breakfast, so I was thinking about getting some food. Good boys and girls who join me will get some sweet treats. Daniel asks, really? Polly says, I want some pudding. Clem says, but Mary says, "Come on, Clem." Clem says, "Huh?" Mary says, "Quit griping, come on. Let's go downstairs, Miss Kloe." Kloe laughs. "Okay." And off Kloe takes the kiddies. Estelle says, "Phew, that was close. I really wouldn't want the little kids to hear about this." Joshua nods. "Indeed. Although I get the feeling that Mary understands at least some of what's happening." Matron Teresa laughs. "Yes, isn't she great? I'm happy to have her around." "Now, you were saying? Please, tell me what you can." Joshua says, "Thank you for your understanding." Estelle starts, "Okay then." Joshua says, "First we checked out where the fire started, and it does appear that it was set deliberately." Matron Teresa says, "My suspicions were correct then. I've always been very careful about fire, so I suspected it might be something like that." Joshua asks, "Do you have any idea who could have done this? Whoever was responsible must have had some kind of motivation." Matron Teresa says, "I have no idea. We have no real money to speak of, nor has anyone ever borne a grudge against us." Estelle says, "So it wasn't a robbery, and it wasn't for revenge." Joshua says, "We have to acknowledge the possibility that someone did it just for fun. Did you happen to notice anything unusual leading up to or during the incident? Any strange people hanging around the orphanage, for instance?" Matron Teresa says, "Yes, actually. Not during the daytime when you were there, but afterward. Though I can't imagine he would do something like this." Estelle asks, "Who's he?" Matron Teresa says, "While we were trying to escape from the burning building, the beams fell in and blocked our way through the entry hall. But then he showed up and helped us all get free. We owe him our lives." Estelle says, "Really? Was he Minorian?" Matron Teresa says, "Right after he helped us, he called the villagers over and left in the confusion. I asked the other villagers about him, but no one seemed to know anything." Joshua says, "That sounds suspicious. What business would anyone have around the orphanage at such a late hour? Did you notice anything in particular about him?" Matron Teresa says, "He was a man, maybe in his late 20s. He also had brilliant silver hair." He didn't carry a really long katana by any chance, did he, and dress all in black? Joshua asks, "Silver hair?" Matron Teresa says, "He had a troubled look about him, though, that made him seem far older than he looked. But he didn't strike me as a bad man." Estelle says, "He sounds suspicious, but he did help you out. Doesn't sound like our guy to me." Joshua gasps. Estelle asks, "Joshua, what's with the goofy stare?" Joshua says, "Oh, it's nothing. Perhaps he was just a bracer that happened to pass by. I think that we should disregard him as a suspect." Estelle says, "Okay." Kloe calls, "Pardon me." Estelle says, "Oh, hi, Kloe." Joshua asks, "Where are the children?" Kloe laughs. "They're downstairs having some dessert." "Matron Teresa, you have a guest." Matron Teresa asks, A man's voice says, "Pardon my intrusion." Estelle says, "Oh." Joshua says, "Mayor Dalmore." Mayor Dalmore says, "Oh, so the bracers I met yesterday are here as well." Jean's reputation for responding quickly is well earned. Now then. It's good to see you again, Mother Teresa. Matron Teresa. Mother Teresa is someone completely different. After I heard what happened, I came over as quickly as I could. I'm glad that you're safe. Matron Teresa says, thank you, Mayor. It's very kind of you to come by. I know you're a very busy man. Mayor Dalmore says, nonsense. It's my responsibility to look after all areas of the region. More to the point, those who did this must not be allowed to get away with it. Joseph always loved that place. Such an atrocity. Allow me to express my most heartfelt condolences. Matron Teresa says, thank you. But I'm sure he would be Start yet again. But I am sure that he would just be relieved that the children are alive and well. My sole regret is that all my mementos of him were lost to the fire. Kloe says, Matron Teresa. Mayor Dalmore says, tell me, Braces, have you any thoughts on who might have done this? Joshua replies, we've only just begun our investigation, so it's too early to say, sir. It does look like it might have been done simply out of malice, however. Mayor Dalmore says, I see. What a terrible thought. For something so heinous to happen in such a peaceful place. Stuart Gilbert says, pardon me, Mayor. Mayor Dalmore says, what is it? Stuart Gilbert asks, do you think that those people might have a hand in this? Mayor Dalmore ponders this. Estelle asks, whoa, hold up, who do you mean by those people? Stuart Gilbert says, you encountered them yesterday. The ruffians down in the warehouse district of Rouen. Estelle says, oh, them. Joshua says, pardon my bluntness, but what makes you suspect them? Stuart Gilbert says, they've been openly defying the mayor for quite some time now. They certainly seem to get their kicks out of causing trouble for him. And since he and Matron Teresa are friends, Mayor Dalmore cuts across. Gilbert. Stuart Gilbert snaps to attention. Sir. Mayor Dalmore says, wild speculation does no one any good. This is a dire offence. We must have no false accusations. Stuart Gilbert says, my apologies, sir. That was foolish of me. Mayor Dalmore says, I think it would be best to let the Braces identify and locate the ones responsible. Can I count on your help? Estelle says, sure, leave it to us. Joshua says, we will devote our full attention to it, sir. Mayor Dalmore says, good, good. I'm glad to hear it. By the way, Matron Teresa, I do have one question to ask. Matron Teresa asks, what is it? Mayor Dalmore asks, what do you plan to do with the orphanage now? Rebuilding will take time and a not inconsiderable amount of mirror to complete. Matron Teresa replies, honestly, I'm at a loss. We have a modest reserve of mirror, but the cost will be phenomenal. Estelle says, Matron. Kloe ponders to herself. Mayor Dalmore says, I was afraid of that. Well, I have a proposal of sorts for you. Matron Teresa asks, what might that be? Mayor Dalmore says, at the Dalmore estate in Gratzl, I have a villa. It's only used for special occasions, so what say you to having the children stay there for a little while? Matron Teresa says, oh. Mayor Dalmore continues, and of course, charging rent would be particularly boorish of me. You'd be welcome to stay there for as long as the rebuilding process takes. Matron Teresa protests, but there's no need for you to shoulder the burden of our troubles. Mayor Dalmore says, but the villa sits unused. If you have misgivings, then I will grant you control of the grounds. Think of it as a well-deserved reward, if you will. Matron Teresa says, Mayor, may I have some time to think it over? Your offer is most generous, but I can barely process it with everything going on. Mayor Dalmore nods. Perfectly understandable. You should get some rest. I must be off as well. If you decide to accept, please feel free to contact me. Matron Teresa says, I will. Thank you so very much. Mayor Dalmore says, let us go, Gilbert. Steward Gilbert nods, yes, sir. And they both leave the room. Estelle says, wow, that was a shock. He's certainly the generous type, on par with Mayor Maybell. Joshua nods, indeed, particularly in light of his being a former noble. Kloe asks, what do you intend to do in regards to the mayor's offer, Matron? Matron Teresa asks, well, what do you think of the situation? Kloe says conventional wisdom dictates that you should accept it. However, once you've gone to Gransel... Oh, never mind me. Matron Teresa laughs. You were always such a thoughtful child. It's all right. I want you to give me your honest opinion. Kloe says the herb garden and the people I care about will be gone. So... And with you and Joseph gone, I feel like all of my good memories will fade away. I'm sorry, I'm just being stupid and selfish. Matron Teresa laughs. I share your feelings. The orphanage is home to my memories of him, as well as the children's memories. But though memories are precious, having a place to live is of the utmost importance. Kloe agrees. Yes, ma'am. Matron Teresa says, I believe this will all be settled soon. Please, try to focus on tending to the campus festival for now. The children are really looking forward to it. Kloe nods. Yes, ma'am. Matron Teresa says, Estelle and Joshua, I wish I could be of more help, but I must leave the investigation in your hands. Joshua says, we will handle it, ma'am. Estelle agrees. We're going to take the culprit down. You can count on it. We've gone outside with Kloe now. Estelle says, this sure has turned into a royal mess. Where should we start the search? Joshua says, maybe we should go to the guild and report back to Sean. We can figure out a plan of attack then. Estelle says, sounds good to me. Estelle looks at Kloe. Something wrong? You look like something's bugging you. Kloe says, oh, I'm sorry. My mind is just all over the place right now. Estelle says, I know how you feel. By the way, Joseph was Matron Teresa's husband, right? Kloe nods. Yes. He died several years ago, but he meant a great deal to me as well. Estelle says, I see. Wait, does that mean you're from the orphanage too? Kloe shakes her head. No, nothing like that. He just did a huge favour for me a long time ago. We grew close again when I came to Rouen to attend the academy. Estelle says, oh, I see. Joshua says, so in other words, every time you came by to play, you ended up helping out, like part of the family. Kloe nods. Yes. He was like a father to me, but the shock I experienced was nothing compared to that of the matron and the other children. but we managed somehow. Mary cries out, "Miss Kloe!" Kloe says, "Mary, what's gotten you into such a hurry?" Mary says, "Listen, Clem's gone." Kloe says, "Huh?" Estelle asks, "You don't mean he's left Menoria?" Joshua asks, "Could you give us some more details?" Mary says, "Okay. After that old man showed up, Clem went upstairs. In a couple of minutes he came back down all red in the face saying, 'They're not getting away with this.' Then he just ran off." Estelle asks, "I wonder who he meant. You don't suppose it's... probably the gang at the warehouse, I would say." Joshua nods. "Yes, I believe it was the Ravens. He probably overheard what the steward said." Estelle gasps, "Oh no. I hope he's not planning to go and find them himself." Kloe says, It can't be. I can't allow this. I have to find him at once." Joshua says, "We'll come with you. If we hurry, we might be able to catch him before he gets to Rouen." Mary says, "Miss Kloe." Kloe says, "Don't you worry. I'll bring him back safely. You just look after the other children, all right?" Mary says, "Okay, good luck," and goes back inside the White Magnolia. Estelle says, "Let's head back to Rouen." Kloe nods. "All right." Sorry. They've all put their prices up now, it seems. Oh well. Back to Rouen we go. We never did find Jimmy again, did we? Oh well. I'm sure he'll turn up when he needs to. Estelle says, "No sign of him on the way. You don't suppose he's already there?" Joshua says, "Come on, we'll check out that warehouse to the south." Joshua says, "Damn, it's almost noon already." Kloe gasps, "No! Clem, please wait." Joshua says, "It's no use. I guess he can't hear you." Estelle cries, "Crap! Why does the bridge have to go up now of all times? It couldn't wait 30 minutes?" Kloe says, "Oh no, if we don't do something, what will we do? What can we do?" Joshua says, "Please, Kloe, try to calm down. You haven't forgotten what you told us about the bridge already, right?" Kloe asks, "Huh?" Joshua asks, "Now how did people get across before the bridge was built?" Estelle says, "Oh, a boat." Kloe nods. "That's right. If I remember correctly, there's a boat you can rent behind the hotel." Estelle says, "All right, we'll use that then." Back to the hotel we go. So if you go to the right place. Murray asks, what do you want? Estelle asks, "Can we rent your boat? We need to get across as quickly as possible." Murray says, "I'm afraid not. That Duke fellow's already reserved it. Maybe come back later?" Estelle sighs, "Oh no." Kloe asks, "Please, won't you help us? There's a little boy in grave danger." Murray says, "Now don't go shedding tears like that. You remind me of my granddaughter, and I don't like to see her upset either." "Well, all right. I suppose it can't hurt. Go ahead and hop aboard." Kloe says, "Thank you, sir." Estelle says, "You're a lifesaver, mister." Murray laughs. "I'll just tell that Duke fellow that the boat's being repaired." "Do you know how to handle a boat, boy?" Joshua nods. "Yes, sir, I'll manage. Come on, both of you." Estelle says, "This is the southernmost part of Warehouse District." Estelle says, "Sieg?" Sieg screeches insistently. Kloe nods. "Okay, I understand. Looks like he's gone as far in as you can go." Joshua says, "Let's get a move on then. That's probably where we'll find the hideout." Estelle nods. "Roger that." Kloe agrees. "Okay." Door on the left is locked. What about this door here? That door isn't locked on the right. So we'll just wander in. Clem says, "Don't try to play dumb. I know it was you guys that did it. I'm not going to let you get away with it." Rocco asks, "What's this little punk talking about?" Dean says, "Hey, this is no place for little kids. You ought to go home and get back to sucking on your mama's tit." Race laughs. "Nice one, man." Clem clenches his fists and makes angry noises. And tries assaulting people twice his height. Dean says, "What the?" Bryce asks, "What's the brat so pissed off about?" Clem screams, "I don't have a mum, you jerks. I have the matron. You don't get to make fun of her." Rocco laughs and punches Clem in the face. Clem cries out in mean. Dean says, "You've got a lot of attitude, punk." Rocco says, "Maybe you need some discipline." Rice asks, "How about 100 whacks on the arse?" Kloe cries out, "Stop this." Dean says, "It's you." And everyone draws a knife. Clem coughs. "Miss Kloe?" Kloe asks, "How can you be so cruel to a child like this? Disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourselves." Dean says, "Oh, hell no." Rice says, "Hey, Missy, who are you to look down on us just because of your looks? Rich snob." Rocco asks, "How many braces you think it'll take to beat us?" Estelle says, "Stand aside, Kloe." Joshua says, "We'll buy you some time. Get the kid as far away from here as you can." Kloe says, "No. Let me fight, please." Estelle gasps, "Huh?" Kloe says, "I really don't enjoy it, but I was taught how to use a sword if it's to protect others. I think now is the right time." Estelle asks, "What? Also, where did that rapier come from?" Joshua says, "A self-defense rapier?" Kloe says, "Let the child go, please. Otherwise, I will force you to do so." Again, where did the rapier come from? Margot says, "Oh wow." Terence says, "That is so hot." Dean shouts, "Get your minds out of the gutter and focus." Rice asks, "You expect us to let this brat get away with mouthing off to us?" Rocco says, "We're the Ravens, and you need to learn not to mess with us." Everyone agrees, and we're going to be fighting. Twitsing. Okay, let's see. Our standard punks have 481 HP. They're not weak to any particular element. They don't drop anything. They are a constituent member of the Raven Gang. Quick but weak. Attacks the weakest opponent first. Let's see. Rice has 750 HP. He's not weak to any particular element. He doesn't drop anything. A mild-natured head member of the Raven Gang. Attacks using distinct crafts. Okay. Dean also has 750 HP. Also has no particular elemental weakness. Doesn't drop anything. A head member of the Raven Gang, nicknamed Spinach Fiend. Dangerous if cornered. Okay. And Rocco also has 750 HP, has no particular elemental weakness, doesn't drop anything. A head member of the Raven Gang, nicknamed Nitro for his temper. Dangerous if cornered. Right. We should look and see what arts Kloe actually has. Ow. That's not nice. Kloe has a lot of water. Right. Well then. Ow. Well, that's one sorted out, at least. Really? Did you seriously just revive? Okay. We're apparently not in defeating him that easy. Yay!
Here I come.
Let's do this!
Nice.
Now, light in the heavens, heal these battered wings. Radiant flash!
Oh. Very interesting. Finally got him.
That's that then. Let's move out.
And both Estelle and Joshua leveled up to level 17. Dean says, "You guys are some kind of monsters." Rice says, "Even if she is a bracer, there's something weird about this chick." Clem cries, "That was awesome, Miss Kloe." Estelle says, "Whew, nice going, Kloe." Joshua says, "You must have learnt the art of the sword from someone very skilled." Kloe says, "No, I'm still just a novice. Fighting any longer would serve no purpose. Please, release the boy. Rocco stammers, "You bitch!" Dean says, "We ain't just gonna let you make it fools of us and get away with it." A young man's voice says, "Enough." Dean says, "Well, who's there?" Rocco suggests, "Reinforcements?" "Oh no, it's Redhead Cloud." Agate asks, "Has it been so long that you've forgotten my voice?" Dean says, "Agate." Rice says, "You're here." Agate just ponders. Estelle asks, "What are you doing here? And you know these guys?" Agate says, "Rice?" Rice replies, "Yeah?" Rice collapses to the ground. Agate asks, "What are you fools doing? Fighting with girls and beating up a little kid? Is that what it's come to?" Rocco says, "You shut up. You left us, so who are you to give us orders anymore?" And Rocco will probably need a hospital. Agate says, "You were saying?" Dean says, "Hey Agate, take it easy. If it's about the kid, we'll let him go, see?" Clem cries, "Miss Kloe." Kloe says, "Thank goodness. You're all right now." Agate grunts, "You should have just done that from the start." Estelle sighs, "What a bunch of mean jerks." "Hey, how did you know exactly when to show up?" Agate replies, "I just talked to Jean, is all. He said the newbies were somewhere investigating the Arson case. So..." "Hey kid." Clem asks, "What?" Agate says, "You've got some guts to come up here all by your lonesome, but you're really pushing your luck. You shouldn't worry your mama like that." Clem doesn't know what to say. A woman's voice calls, "Clem." Clem says, "Matron?" Kloe asks, "Why have you come here?" Matron Teresa says, "I inquired at the guild as to what was going on, and I was led here." Clem, "Really, you know better." Clem says, "I'm not apologizing this time. I'm going to get those jerks who started the fire and..." Matron Teresa shouts, "Clem!" Kloe says, "Matron Teresa, please don't scold him." Matron Teresa replies, "That wasn't my intent. I understand how you feel, Clem. Believe me, I do. The house was important to everyone who lived there with you, to all of us. However, getting yourself killed will not bring it back. All that I want is for everyone to be safe. Nothing else matters. So please, don't put yourself in danger." Clem says, "Matron," and starts crying. Really crying. Estelle sniffles, "I'm such a sucker for this stuff." Kloe says, "Clem, I'm really glad he's okay." Agate sighs, "Geez, women and kids always the same. Hey, bracer kid. You should get the matron and Brad out of here. This really is no place for them." Joshua says, "I don't mind, but what will you do, Agate?" Agate says, "I've made up my mind. I'm going to remind these idiots who runs things and why. I might need to crack a few skulls. Dean cries, "No, please take it easy on us." Joshua says, "I see. I guess you'd prefer not being interrupted then." And so we leave that scene of violence behind a gentle curtain, and we are outside the Arms and Armour store. Matron Teresa says, "Thank you so very much. I wish I had the words to express my gratitude." Estelle says, "You really don't need to thank us. We're just doing our jobs." "Still, are you sure you don't want us to escort you back to Minoria?" Matron Teresa says, "Yes, it's fine. The Gull Seaside Way is like my backyard after all. More importantly, I don't want to get Kloe in trouble at the school." Estelle says, "No need to worry." Kloe says, "I will accept full responsibility, Matron." Matron Teresa laughs. "Thank you, Kloe, but it's fine, really. I want you to focus on preparing for the campus festival. All of the children are looking forward to it." Kloe says, "Yes, ma'am." Joshua says, "Phew, made it just in time. I brought back the boat." Estelle grins. "Thanks." Kloe says, "Sorry for making you do that on your own." Joshua shakes his head. "Don't worry about it. It wasn't a tough job." Matron Teresa says, "I owe you my gratitude as well, Joshua." Clem says, "Miss Kloe, all you guys actually. Thanks for helping me today. I was stupid. Really stupid." Kloe says, "Clem." Clem says, "I thought maybe I could get back at them. And then you had to come and save me. You must think I'm a complete loser." Estelle says, "We don't think that at all." Joshua states, "You're not a loser." Clem cries. Joshua says, "You risked life and limb to protect something that's important to you. That's no mean feat, even for grown-ups. Personally, I thought you were pretty awesome." Clem says, "Mr. Joshua." Joshua says, "However, you need to leave fighting the criminals to us. Your job is to protect the matron and the other kids. No one else can do it. You have to stay with them, encourage and support them. You're the only one who can do it, Clem." Clem asks, "Only I can do it?" "Okay, I think I get what you're saying." Joshua asks, "You think you're up to it?" Clem says, "You betcha, you can count on me." Matron Teresa laughs. "Thank you, yet again. Take care, everyone. If you'll pardon us." Clem says, "Oh, Miss Kloe, I can't wait to see the play." Kloe says, "Great, I've been working hard on it, so I hope everyone will be there." Clem says, "You can count on it. See you later." Estelle says, "Phew, I'm glad to see he's feeling better. Sometimes you know just the thing to say, don't you, Joshua?" Kloe laughs. "I couldn't believe my eyes seeing how quickly Clem cheered up. Thank you, Joshua, so much." Joshua says, No, I didn't say anything special. You've got to protect what's important to you, that's all." "Anyway, I'm just glad that he's okay. Thanks for your help, Kloe." Kloe says, "I should be thanking you. Oh, by the way, what came of your investigation?" Estelle says, Well, that red-headed dude butted his spiky head in now, so I wonder if he's done yet." Joshua says, "For now, let's get back to the guild. Are you coming with us, Kloe?" Kloe says, yes, I'd like to find out what's really going on. Not to mention the identity of the arsonist. Estelle says, well, let's go then. Jean says, welcome back and good work. I'm told that you were able to save a young boy. Estelle says, yeah, somehow or another. I'm still kind of in shock from when that redhead showed up. Jean says, oh, you must be an Agathe. He's working another case in Rouen. He used to be the leader of the Ravens, if you can believe it. Joshua says, I suspected as much. Estelle sighs, guess that explains his terrible disposition. Jean says, well, that was a long time ago. He drifted into town right around when he was your age. He hung out with a rough crowd and got into some serious trouble. Compared to back then, the tough types nowadays are puppy dogs. Estelle asks, and a guy like that was allowed to become a bracer? Jean says, well, I've gotten to know him a little bit, and it turns out that he wanted to become a bracer ever since he was little. Sometimes people just change. Agathe says, I think that's probably enough of the idle chatter. Estelle says, oh, you're back. Agathe asks, didn't your mama ever tell you it ain't nice to talk about someone behind his back? Always with the gossip. Jean laughs, but is it really gossip if it's positive? Anyway, are you done with your investigation? Agathe says, yep, over and done with. I can't say for sure, but I think they're clean. Estelle asks, really? You're not just trying to protect your old buddies? Agathe asks, you want to watch that mouth of yours? From what I saw last night at the Sailor's Tavern, they couldn't be the arsonists. Hell, I doubt they could have even walked a straight line if they wanted to. Estelle ponders. Joshua says, well, if that's true, we can hold off on them. They didn't strike me as the types with the guts to try arson anyway. Estelle says, I guess not. Just full of themselves, mostly. Agathe says, all you need is to give them a nasty look, and believe me, they'll cave. Anyway, I'll see if I can find the arsonists while I'm out in the field. Estelle asks, huh? Agathe says, I'm taking over the case, and you're off it. Estelle says, whoa, say what? You've got to be kidding me. Joshua asks, can you at least give us an explanation? Agathe says, oh, don't get your panties in a wad. You two are too close to this case and you know it. And if you let your feelings run away with you, it screws with your judgment. Plus, you let a civvy get involved. Kloe says, oh, pardon me, but Agathe says, you ain't got to apologise. It's these two I'm worried about. Point is, you got to be professional about it. These two ain't. Estelle shouts, just where do you get off calling us unprofessional? And no matter what you say, we made a promise to the mayor. Agathe says, hey Jean, what do the rules say about when junior and senior bracers want the same case? Jean says, oh come on, you know as well as I do. Of course it rules in favour of the senior bracer. Estelle frowns. Joshua says, we're not bad in a fight. Perhaps we could provide backup. Agathe says, it's just an investigation. I don't need more people. I think we're done here. Try not to hold this against me. And off he goes. Estelle sputters, what? Just who the hell does he think he is? Joshua says, it's frustrating, sure, but he has a point. It just irritates me that we really don't have a counter-argument. Kloe says, I'm sorry. If I had not drawn my sword. Estelle says, that's not what's bothering me. He doesn't have to just blow us off like that. Jean says, please, he means no harm. Don't be upset. Tact is not his strong suit. He just doesn't know any other way to communicate, particularly in light of the current situation. I think it may have something to do with an earlier case of his. He was pursuing someone and, well... Estelle asks, huh? Joshua asks, pursuing someone, like a criminal? Jean replies, never mind about that. I really can't go into detail. Just let him handle these criminals. Consider it a personal favour for me. Estelle sighs, I guess we have no choice. I see, says Joshua. Well, we'll hand over a report from our investigation then. Jean says, please, go ahead. And we have received payment for orphanage crisis. We received 3,000 Mira and 5 BP. And we are still Junior Bracer 6th class. Jean says, it seems that you are quite thorough. But as I mentioned, the circumstances of this case are special. I'm terribly sorry, but you'll have to end your investigation here. Estelle says, but we just wanted to do something for the matron and the kids. This isn't right. Kloe says, Estelle. Mr. Jean, it's possible to enlist the help of the Bracers Guild for civilian events, isn't it? Jean says yes, though it would depend on what kind of event you're talking about. Because of the number of people who attend, you'll be handling security at the Royal Academy Festival, for example. Kloe says, well then, Estelle, Joshua, would you mind helping out with our play in the meantime? Estelle says, huh? Joshua asks, what do you mean? Kloe replies, every year when the festival ends, there's a play held in the auditorium. I know the children always look forward to it, and there are still 2 major roles that haven't been filled. Estelle says, you don't mean... Joshua asks, you want us to take the parts? Kloe says, yes, otherwise we may have to cancel the play entirely. I can't bear to think of how disappointed the children will be. So I mentioned you two to the student council last night. They seemed quite eager to have you. It wouldn't be much, but you'd be reimbursed from the admin budget. Estelle asks, why do you want us? I don't think we'd be any good, and isn't the play a really big deal? Kloe says, well, for the girl part, we need someone who's been trained for combat. I think you'd fit the role perfectly. Estelle says, I see. Well, I can definitely do combat stuff. Joshua nods. Sounds like it would work. And what about the other part? Kloe goes on. Oh, yes, well, talking about it is kind of, Joshua asks, kind of what? Kloe pauses. Embarrassing. Joshua asks, and what does that mean exactly? What kind of play is this? Estelle says, oh, come on, Joshua. You're not going to make us say it, are you? We can do something for the kids. Where's the harm? Plus, if we do some work, they'll probably let us have some of that awesome festival food. Can't let that opportunity slip by. Joshua says, hey, hold on a second. Jean, is this really a legit bracer assignment? Jean replies, it certainly is. Citizen outreach and regional services comprise plenty of the general work that bracers do. And since Akate showed up, you do have some extra time. I certainly have no problem with it. Estelle grins. All right. Joshua sighs. I have a bad feeling about this. But if it's for the kids, what choice do I have? Still, if we have anything else to do, we should take care of it beforehand. I doubt working on the play will leave us free time for anything else. Estelle says, yeah, you're probably right. Hey Kloe, would it be okay with you if we looked around here some more? Kloe says, sure, you don't need to worry about me. To get to the Royal Academy, you leave by the Gull Seaside Way, go east of the first fork, and then follow the woodland path. Estelle nods. Okay, got it. Well then, let's go. Well, we shall save our... how do I put it? Our stage debut for next time. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you in our next episode.